Hello Battletech fans and welcome back. Yes, it is the silly one, back with another deck list based on the meta from a long time ago, or pre-Worlds 1998, just after Arsenal. Okay, and this is this is two decks, but they're the first deck was kind of produced or created to counteract the vehicle revolution, devolution, convolution, call it what you want, and that morphed into something else, which did see a lot of play for a little while, and he's a bit interesting as well. So I thought I would do this one, oh, excuse me, and throw this into the mix. Okie dokie. So this is a deck that, or this is the deck that apparently beat vehicle decks from Arsenal. And unsurprisingly, it's got vehicles in it. I'm not sure, but hey, it's a bit of fun. It's interesting, it's different. So here we go. So let's start off with the first card, and this is possibly one of the reasons why I wasn't overly convinced with it. The first card is Guerrilla Support. 3/6 tactics. It's an operation. We do not see many operations because generally they sit on the table and have 3 counters on them, and you have to remove a counter each turn in order for them to trigger. They're reasonably durable at 4/9, but generally what happens is somebody either completely ignores them and goes full Leroy for the stockpile, or they take count of them and over 3 turns they destroy them. Okay, so they're not a good card. There are a few tricks with them about hidden reserves in the original game. Uncle Chandrasekhar Karita, I'm sure it is Chandrasekhar. The one, yeah, here he is, the guy that provides L, where you can remove an operation counter from one of them. But he's just one card. The other card that you can use to manipulate it is his Underworld, but that's just basically it adds a counter, or they at least manipulate counters, so there aren't many ways of reducing the counters on these at all. So let's just have a look at the text. It says put 3 operational counters on it. When you activate it, remove an operation counter at the beginning of your turn. When the last operation counter has been removed, scrap this, and your opponent scraps a card at the beginning of his or her turn until the end of game. So it's a bit of a pressure card in that respect. There are 6 in here, which seems an awful lot. And I guess the idea is that this just helps seep a bit of damage through and probably gives the opponent a bit of a target for a couple of turns. Getting rid of this when you're deploying 2 damage bulldogs, because it takes 13 to kill it outright and 4 armor is quite substantial, will take a while, and to be honest, if you're playing against it, you're probably just better off just ignoring it and going full Leroy. But anyway, 6 war funds. For some reason this version has got the Travis version of war funds, not the official one. 6 Saladin, 02M, 021 Alpha 2. It's a vehicle, it's a free deploy. You can get 3 out of it if you want. The Jackal, a 051 02A 1M overheat 1+1 anti-missile. It's a moderate, it's a decent body, and you can overheat it to get 2 out of it. Surprisingly, the Urban Mech 142 jump, but it's a 02A 1M. It doesn't necessarily, the Bulldog, the 01L 2M 232 free deploy, the 0 cost Assassin 01A 1M 041 jumper, and the other Urban Mech, which one's this? This is the 60, this one is the 63, 042 jump 01A. And as you can see, all of these units cost 0. They cost absolutely nothing. So if you've got M in play, the Saladin comes out. The Jackal has got an A buyout as well, but if you've got A in play, then that comes out, as does your Urban Mech. The Bulldog requires L, but there you go. The Assassin is A and M. The Urban Mech is just A. So the whole idea here is that these cost nothing. So even with 0 resources on the table, you can put 2 of these out per turn if you draw them without too many problems, and possibly even more of that because your Bulldog is a free deploy and your Saladin is a free deploy. So you can really start flooding the board with these. Your resources, we've got 6 war funds here, which you have to pay 1 for, which is a little awkward, but you do have specialized project team, which you can tap for a resource, and you can have think tank, and think tank is how you basically get all of your ALM and T, because there are 2 final pushes in the deck. T is not overly essential because the Urban Mech has jump, the Assassin has jump, the Bulldog obviously doesn't being a tank, but the other Urban Mech has jump, the Jackal doesn't and the Saladin doesn't. But you've got a good chunk of potential jumpers if you just need to attack with 5 or 6 of these guys doing 2 each, jump one of them, play a final push and push 10 through to the stockpile or something. Okay. So the idea of this deck, and I really am not sure about guerrilla support in these decks because it's tactics and whatever else. This is why I don't think it's the correct card and not focused. It could easily be something else. And this is post vehicle change compliant. No, it's not. You've got 6 Saladin and 6 Bulldog. So it's not quite compliant because that's 12 units. So I'm not convinced with this being the Arsenal vehicle deck killer it proclaims to be. I'm not sure about guerrilla support in here. It just seems a very, very odd card and off theme. But when you take the rest of the deck, the fact that you have nothing to pay for if you have the assets on the table for your units, and you don't actually have any support cards. Your support, your resources are war funds, think tank, and specialized project team. Then, which you can also scrap for to draw a card, which is very useful. Then it's basically impervious to resource hunting, because it just doesn't need them on the table. And it is kind of the epitome of the original Swarm, anti-Swarm, because of that. You can throw units out left, right and centre. This evolved, and some of these cards disappeared. Surprisingly, the guerrilla support went, and it turned into, and this is the second version of it, what was called the Evil Urban Mech deck. Okay, let me just organise these by keyword for a start. So we still have our little Bulldog for L and M, and there are probably not the right amount of those in there. There probably should be 4 Bulldogs because we've got 6 Saladins. I think this had got 6 in it and it was vehicle compliant, but still. And then when we look at our other mechs, we have 6 urban mechs, again 142 jumpers 01A, the other urban mech, the other Jackal, and in this case we have the very expensive 1-cost Vindicator. This version, the other version of the Vindicator, the brown one, the 1R was in there, but it's a 1A, 1M, and this version is a 2M. So in fact, should that be out, and should it be this one? And the reason for this is simply the buyouts. This has got a 1A and 1M buyout, whereas the other Vindicator has got, where is it? Come on, 2A. So if you haven't got A, this could cost you 3, whereas if you haven't got A but you have an M, the other one could cost you 2. or M is 2 because of the 1 plus 1A, 1M buyout. So stat-wise, they're identical. It's just the buyouts. So therefore, I think this is the one that's probably better. If you haven't got assembly, it hurts you too much. You're probably going to have it, but there we go. So let's just recap. Saladins, as mentioned before. Bulldogs, as mentioned before. The resource mix of 6 war funds, 6 specialised project teams, 6 think tanks, in order to get those, draw those and play those. Note that you need specialised project team or think tank to be able to start, because you can't drop a war funds down because it costs 1. So that's a little awkward. But with 12 of each, you could double mulligan. But to be honest, there are no basic resources in this deck, as you can mulligan on any hand that doesn't work without any problems in the slightest. Obviously you need 1 on the table for this Vindy. The Jackal costs nothing, the Urban costs nothing, the other Urban costs nothing, and then they added a little bit of a mission package, because the Vindy jumps, the Jackal doesn't, the Urby does, and then the vehicle's done. So you still got 18, 3 lots of 6 jumpers in here if you haven't scrapped anything for tactics. So 1 accidental collision is great at taking out big units. 1 risky combat jump is a great way of doing something like stopping a hunting. Defensive formation is just, and this is quite a flexible card, to prevent 1 damage to each of your units. It has no attack or battle or whatever else, you just prevent 1 damage. When you attack in a group, then 3 or 4 units, that could prevent 4 damage in total, so that's quite strong. And then the final push in order to finish the game out. So it just adds a little bit in there. And this version has a sideboard. The sideboard is exciting. 4 copies of arms reduction to slow big mechs down, if only to slow them down because they have to pay 5 3p, which limits their resources. 2 superior navs and 2 rampages, and these are just pure damage boosters. Rampage, not a particularly well used card, but scrap a card from your hand and roll a die. The average roll of a die on 1 to 6 is 3.5, so it's +3 effectively. So scrapping a card from your stockpile to do that is good value, especially if you roll a 6. And superior nav, again, attack +4 potentially on block, have another go, or on tap and have another go. And you'd probably in this deck have a couple more units in order to make this up. Let's have a look at seeing if there are any other units that we could put in here. And the cost contains 0. This is somewhat awkward because they won't split the costs out, they put them all together. I wanted a base cost and then an A cost, an L cost, an M cost, a P cost, but no, that's too much, but we can shove other crap in instead. This is why we get all the other stuff. There is nothing to stop you, and we want Inner Sphere in here. Putting in, this is a Liao deck, so we can't put anything in. We want generic, and we want to get rid of the BT2 stuff as well. So we could put a Cicada in, we could put a Hermes in, we could put a Mercury in, we could put the Irby in, which is good value at 0 cost for 2. Here's the other, that's the same Irby, that's the Assassin. The Commando could go in, the Falcon, the Fireball. We're into L's now. L and M is our Bulldog. This shouldn't have any BT tactics units in. So that Cossack can go for a start. That's... oh. Contains, not doesn't contain. So that's better. Saladins, Yellow Jacket. Charger, you could pop a charger in, but you're going to need politics. That's Steiner, Saladin, you might chuck that bulldog in, to be honest. A couple of those. Actually, the Vulcan would be a nice fit, but it's Marek, which is a little awkward. There's our Urbans. Inner Sphere. There isn't really much in the way of decent alternatives. I suppose your Falcon. Where are we? Although that's Comstar. Wolf's Dragoons. 1/3/1 anti-missile. Maybe. I think you'd rather go with 2 damage from the Commando, to be honest. Wow, does this mean we've got a deck with a Commando in it? What happens if there's a 1? What happens if we take that up to 1 cost? Is there anything in there that costs 1 that we might put in? The Fast Assassin. Probably put the Javelin in, to be honest. Probably put 2 Javelins in on that. At 1 they're reasonable. If you're going to do that, maybe you could go with Cicada and then Marek's. The Clint. What did I put in? I put the Javelin. 1, 3, 2. Yeah, take those out and put the Clint in. Just for flavour more than anything else. You could put the Clint Revised in. That would be fun. It's just the buyouts are too crazy on that. Kind of antithesis of the deck in that respect. Tree Bucket, it overheats. It's not bad, I suppose, with the numbers. The Hoplite is durable, but the overheat. Hermes is okay. But anyway, so the idea here again is, as I've said, you should be able to play the majority of these well into the game, putting out 2 units a turn, and every hand will be a mulligan, so you can draw and pull what you want. And people just weren't expecting this. Maybe we take the Clints out and go with something else, like maybe put in something a bit crazy, like put a Fog-Shrouded Moor in. It doesn't matter about not doing damage. You're there preventing your stockpile in the hunting. Maybe that's I mean, it's a bit expensive at 2. You might be able to do it. There are options. So anyway, this was the Evil Urban Mech deck, and nobody was expecting it. And what happened is it went into a couple of tournaments, and because it's impervious basically to resource hunting, and that was the whole idea behind it. Yeah, okay, it's slow, puts out 2 units a turn, they keep attacking, you wear your opponent down. Impervious to resource hunting. It actually won and scared a few people. Some people thought, oh, this is all they're going to play at Worlds in 98, which obviously wasn't the case. I think it was an interesting deck. I think it was well designed. I think the ideas were good, but as soon as people learnt about how to win against it, then it quickly fell by the wayside. But it was one of those things that came as a kind of Vehicle Swarm version 2 kind of result thereof, and was definitely a bit different for its day. So there you go, there's the Evil Urban Mech deck, designed to put out 2 units for turn after turn after turn, and not require any resources apart from the ones that you can tap and scrap yourself. So there you go, bit of fun, bit of history. Anyway, that's a nice little short and sweet one. That'll finish most of the decks that I've been doing recently, and we'll be moving on to something a little more substantial next time. But until then, look after yourself. It's a big wild world out there.